IGN just dropped a little commentary about the new upcoming Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, and I had taken a peek at some of the stuff that was kind of coming with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but they got kind of a little bit more of a more in-depth look at it. So I just figured we could take a look at this video together, and I'll give you my thoughts, my opinions on everything that's going to be coming with Black Flag, and see how we feel, see what's going on, and just get a general overview of everything together. So let's check this out. All right, so this, like I said, it's an IGN preview, and this is titled Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is much more than a facelift. So let's go ahead and take a look at this.
13 years after Ubisoft ditched Desmond Miles to go full pirate in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, this seafaring adventure is still considered by some to be the best pirate simulator of all time. So
I want to make a note there. Keep in mind that two of the quote-unquote best pirate sims, Assassin's Creed Black Flag being one of them, which I do agree with, but another one that gets tossed around a lot is Skull and Bones. They're both made by Ubisoft, so I just wanted to make a note of that real quick. Because I feel like it might get brought up in this video, so I always love talking about Skull and Bones. I really do. I think it's an interesting game, but they went the wrong direction with that. So
it's no wonder at all that Ubisoft has decided to dust off this bad boy and remake it in the style of last year's Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Graphics look really good. I've been trying to avoid full gameplay and
with
stuff,
all the modern
but
trimmings you'd expect. That includes stuff like drastically improved graphics, modernized combat mechanics to make Edward Kenway faster on the draw.
Oh, that does look really good, wow.
And my personal favorite, a near complete removal of all the pesky loading screens that is an absolute godsend. My time with Black Flag Resynced included a few red flags to go along with the black ones though. Like how some of the modernizations involved removing aspects of the original, it seemed like maybe they'd be best left as they were. But on the whole, it's pretty hard to be mad about this gorgeous second voyage of one of the best Assassin's Creed games.
Everyone's face looks a little weird. Maybe it's just me, but his face does look a little weird.
Black Flag Resynked's best parts come courtesy of the Ubisoft Anvil engine, last seen in AC Shadows. It's been used to recreate Black Flag from the ground up, and that allows it to be every bit as beautiful as more recent Assassin's Creed games. The tropical environment of the Caribbean.
Something that I do want to say about this. Take a look at the one on the left. This is our old Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the one that we're used to seeing. Take a look at the one on the right. As you can definitely notice, the one on the right, the one that is going to be resynced, it's a lot more stylized, but it doesn't have that same, like, grainy, rugged kind of look that the original Black Flag had. And I think that's a very interesting change, but granted now, I mean, it is also like, kind of they're saying it's a completely different engine with the new AC engine that was used for Shadows and stuff. So that is something that I am noticing immediately. So I did want to just make a note of that. They do look like completely different games, and in which they are, but the just ruggedness of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the original, was something that I really enjoyed about the game. So hopefully they don't go overly stylized and go overly, too hard into like all the crazy lighting and all this and that and all these looks and like making everybody look really funky. Hopefully they can still keep some of that original ruggedness and that grittiness that Black Flag had. But I noticed that immediately, so I want to go ahead and just make a note of that.
The tropical environment of the Caribbean is a night and day improvement over the original, specifically when it comes to how bright and colorful areas are versus the previous generation's somewhat muted and dark appearance, especially when running around forested areas.
Oh, wow.
Similarly, character models somehow managed to look absurdly better than they did in 2013, while also being exactly as I remember them. That said, I did find many of the characters to be a bit prettier than I expected, particularly when it comes to pirate characters who spend all their time boozing, sailing, and fighting. The cast seems to have been given a Hollywood glow-up and aren't nearly as gross and dirty as you might think. Black Flag Resynced also benefits from many of the other upgrades the series has seen in recent iterations, especially changes to combat that make it faster and more decisive, and to sneaking around that make it a more competent stealth game than the original. Despite the Assassin's Creed series ostensibly being all about sneaking around, it's wild to think that it wasn't until Assassin's Creed Unity that we got a dedicated crouch button. Absolutely insane in retrospect. In the original Black Flag, you could only go undetected when hidden within a group of people or when walking in bushes that automatically put you into crouch mode. Aside from that, your character genuinely couldn't crouch at all. Thankfully, Black Flag Resynced adds a dedicated crouch button so you can go about your business of stabbing enemies to death from the cover of shadow as you please.
That might be a small change, literally just adding a crouch button. But just think about how dynamic that is going to make some of the moments whenever you're, like he kind of was saying, whenever you're wanting to go maybe from cover to bushes, so you're sitting behind a box and you're like, okay, well, I can get to this bush, but I don't want to blow my cover, so I'm going to sneak over. And that really reminds me of like old, Splinter Cell games, and like even like a Tomb Raider game, like the new modernized Tomb Raider games had like that really nice stealth feel to some of the moments. So it's nice that crouch button is being added for that specific reason. I do actually really like that.
Also a few new gadgets in your stealth tool belt, and some that were in the original but come to you much sooner in this iteration. For example, the badass rope dart that didn't appear until the tail end of the story is now added to your inventory in the opening chapters, so you can almost immediately start yanking enemies toward you like Mortal Kombat Scorpion. If you aren't in the mood for stealth though, one change to this iteration of Black Flag is likely to bring you joy. Those deeply irritating tailing quests have been reworked. Whereas before you'd have to slowly follow people around town unnoticed, paying the ultimate price of having to start over from the beginning if you got caught, now you're provided alternate ways of completing the mission instead. In the one example included in the demo, I decided to sprint right at the two people I was told to follow just to see what would happen. And although the result was sloppy and most unbecoming of an aspiring assassin, I can confirm that I was indeed given separate means for completing my objective anyway, though they were significantly bloodier and less smooth than planned. A pretty great change if you ask me.
That's amazing.
Likewise,
actually,
combat has been modernized to focus on
sequences.
player skill, complete with my favorite, a perfect parry mechanic that opens enemies up to be instantly killed if you get the timing just so. As someone who's been honing his parry timing for years in the crucible of Souls-likes and uber-difficult action games, this is one of my favorite changes. Not only does it make you feel like a complete badass when you slap someone's sword out of your face and finish them off with an execution, but it also allows for combat to go faster, something that feels quite needed at times with all the samey boarding combat sections that happen every time you want to pillage a ship of its cargo before sinking it. I also played with the difficulty turned all the way up and found myself dying quite a bit, both in ship-based combat and while swashbuckling. Some of this is surely just the fact that I was playing the remake for the first time and learning as I went, but here's hoping this iteration of Black Flag is a bit more challenging than the original, where I rarely found myself in any real peril. Though this remaster draws on many of Assassin's Creed's more recent entries, it steers clear from the RPG elements found in Valhalla and Shadows, instead sticking to its action-adventure roots like Mirage and crucially the original Black Flag. There are still some stats on weapons that can be purchased in shops and some RPG-like upgrades here and there, but Resynced focuses much more on being a competent action game than an RPG, so you won't find yourself stealth assassinating someone and not doing enough DPS to take them out in one strike. I actually enjoy both the more RPG-style Assassin's Creed games and the less chunky action games that the series found its roots in, but if I'm being honest, this one just feels like it's much better suited as a pure action game. After all, I'm a bloody pirate for God's sake. I'm meant to be showing these nautical narcs the business end of a flintlock, not running the numbers on my armor set or doing math on my critical hit chances. Yar, I say. Yar!
And that is something that, for me, the newest Assassin's Creed games kind of have been a miss. I'm not too big on the RPG mechanics in an Assassin's Creed game. I'm not trying to build an insane build and do all this crazy stuff and have, like, if I want to do anything of that, I'll just play a different series, because I come to Assassin's Creed for a good narrative and a feeling like that badass assassin that these games were portrayed in this early life, up until probably, I would say, like the last 4 iterations, like somewhere in like Origins, Odyssey, somewhere in there, where they just kind of started to feel like a miss for me. Like, I really enjoyed Unity. I really enjoyed Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 3, 2, 1. All the spin-offs, like with the Russian guy and like the Chinese girls and everything. Like, every Assassin's Creed that I played that you were bent to be like an assassin, those felt really good and fun to play, versus like where I tried playing Valhalla and Origins, Odyssey, I think, what was it, Mirage was a little bit more of a turn to form, but I didn't get to play Shadows yet, so I've seen gameplay of it, but the whole having 2 different characters just really isn't my vibe. But I do want to kind of get into it at some point. Maybe I'll try to play it before Black Flag comes out in July. So we'll see how that kind of goes.
Some of the streamlining of Black Flag to Resync's action has led to some peculiar choices though, like how you can no longer pick up weapons of slain foes to use in combat. In the original, if you downed a big guy who was wielding a 2-handed axe, you could then pick it up and use it to mop up the rest of the scallywags in your path. For whatever reason, that was removed in the demo I played though, possibly to simplify things and keep the action moving along without having to clumsily retrieve a weapon from the ground in the heat of battle. I can certainly see the logic in that choice, but honestly, I kind of missed being able to have that kind of freedom, and it felt to me like one of those wholly unnecessary changes that could have just as well been left as it was. While reliving my time with Black Flag was largely awesome, one surprising revelation is that the entirety of the present-day storyline has been removed from this version. As someone who misses when the Assassin's Creed series actually tried to tell a story within its sci-fi world, it's a bit of a bummer to see them follow in Assassin's Creed Shadows' footsteps of giving up on that aspect of the series entirely. It's especially odd if, like me, you have the twist ending at the end of the original Black Flag burned into your memory. I'm honestly very curious how this remake will be able to cut around that aspect of the story entirely, and worry the story might feel a bit awkward in doing so. That said,
Now, this is something to keep in mind. I had actually seen or heard or read somewhere else, I can't vividly remember where, but another piece that I was looking at about all of Black Flag Resynced, they're not taking out all of the modern parts. There still are supposed to be some of the more modern stuff, but the ones where you're like walking from point A to point B with your tablet to go talk to somebody, like they've taken that stuff out so that way it feels more of like an action game and not just you're doing random office work. And like, yeah, like exactly what you're thinking. Oh, random office work. Like if you haven't played Black Flag, the original, probably don't get what I mean by that. But there was like these random moments where you would just be like I said, walking from point A to point B, holding like an Abstergo tablet, and you would like go talk to somebody. And like, that would be what you would do in the office, or like just really weird, like things that broke up the pacing of the game. But so from, like I said, what I have heard, there are still going to be those modern day sections. They're just not going to be as many. They're going to be a little more few far in between because they want to actually, you know, keep the aspects of you're playing as Edward Kenway, you're playing as the assassin. And so it's, to my understanding, they're going to be there, but they're not going to be as like ham-fisted and brute forced and shoved down your throat like Roman Reigns was in 2016. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like that.
Historical story and pirate gameplay is quite obviously Black Flag's strength, so maybe it won't be any big loss not having it around, even if it does feel a bit strange. Perhaps as a way of making up for the lack of a present-day story, Resynced interestingly adds content to Kenway's story that wasn't in the original, some of which I played. This includes whole story sections that focus on Blackbeard and Stead Bonnet, who were only briefly involved in the original version of Black Flag, if memory serves. There are also new party members you can recruit to join your pirate crew, complete with quests to indoctrinate them into your privateering operations. One such quest involved breaking a shipwright out of jail and persuading her to join my team by agreeing to help her with a personal matter down the road. Her name is Lucy, and she's pretty much a complete badass. I think she'll fit in with Kenway and company just fine. After a handful of hours playing this remake of one of the best Assassin's Creed games, I'm pretty sold on replaying through it in its entirety when it comes out later this year.
So yeah, definitely some really interesting stuff like that. It's nice to kind of hear that because they got that hands-on preview, that they're still keeping a lot of the same general true aspects, but kind of reworking and fundamentally changing some of the more annoying things, like removing some of the random tedious first-person sections, letting you get your rope dart, you know, early in the game, opposed to, I think it was like 60% of the way through the game, or maybe a little bit later. So you're like adding more Blackbeard, giving you more party members, streamlining the combat, making the graphics feel better, but still having all of the things that we really loved about Black Flag kind of still come to the forefront and letting us have that real amazing pirate experience. So me personally, just because I love old school Assassin's Creed, and like I kind of already said, I didn't really jive with the newer like 4 or 5 that they made, being Odyssey, Origins, Mirage, Valhalla, and then Shadows. Like I want to play Shadows, but like I said, I just don't really jive with 2 characters. I feel like it would just be hard to get connected, but maybe I'm wrong. I actually haven't seen any like spoilers or anything for Shadows, so maybe that's something I can play before Black Flag comes out. But at the end of the day, I'm very excited for this because a lot of pirate games just don't really hit for me. I like Windrose, for example. I tried that. just so, because I really wanted a new pirate game, but I just don't really like survival crafting games. I feel like they're all kind of boring and samey after like about 4-ish hours, 6-ish hours. Like, so it just didn't really hit as hard for me. But an action game, Assassin's Creed universe, playing as a pirate with modern graphics, with the modern engine, with the modern combat. Oh, sui mama, it's gonna be on site. Swear. And if I do remember correctly, it's only it's not gonna be 70. I believe it's gonna be 60, which is already another nice thing to hear. And then, maybe they'll even do some early Ubisoft discounts or something if you have like Ubisoft like Plus or whatever their subscription is or whatever. So really excited to see what this game delivers in 2 months from now, because I think it comes out July 18th, somewhere in there. Like, it's like the middle of July. So I'm very excited to see this. Very excited to play it. And I would definitely love to know what you guys are thinking, and if you guys are interested, if you guys are going to be playing this. And if you haven't done so already, feel free to leave a comment, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to see even more Texas Toast, get some of the raw, uncut stuff, you can come over and follow me on Twitch at Texas_Toast0, where I play plenty of games, where I play all kinds of stuff that you guys might enjoy. And then I also do WWE streams, so if you just want to come do a watch along with me, because I mean, we just love to have fun around here and around these pots, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, all we can do is hope and pray that this is going to be the best pirate game we've gotten in a while. And until we meet again, deuces.
Ooh, this a hot shit, babe. You said that I've been hanging on to you. I don't play games cause I'm scared to lose. Baby, I tried to with you. Now I feel like the smoke that you blew. Yeah, got my heart